Welcome dear students. Today we will start a new chapter, that is health and diseases. So students, we all must have suffered from some of the other diseases in our life at a particular time. Yes or no? Students, in this chapter we will going to see why does the diseases happens and what types of diseases are present and many more related to our health. So students, let's start the chapter. Okay, so while starting the chapter, we will going to see some of the terms. Okay, so let's see the health. What is the health, student? So health is a state of being free from illness or injury. Students, what is health? It is when the person is free from all the illness and injury. It is called as a health. Now let's see the proper definition of the health. Health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being and not merely the absence of any disease. So, what is the health? It is a state of complete physical. Physical means related to our body, and mental related to our mind. Now, let's see what is a disease. So disease is an abnormal condition of a part, organ, or system of an organism resulting from various causes such as infection and inflammation. So what is a disease? It is any abnormal condition of a part organ. That means any abnormal condition of any part and any organ of our body, of our human body, resulting from various causes such as infection and inflammation. Okay, now let's see what is the disease according to the textbook. Okay, so condition of disturbances in and physiological or psychological processes of body is called a disease. So students, what is a physiological process of our body? So see, physiological process is relating to the metabolism, relating our movement, responsiveness, that means how we respond to the particular feature, digestion, respiration and excretion. So this is a physiological. Now let's see the psychological process. So psychological process relating to the learning, languages and perception, attention, memory and emotion. So what is the perception? So students, perception is the ability to see, hear or become aware of something through the senses, something through our senses. Okay, so have you understood the physiological and psychological process? Okay, next is each disease has its own specific symptoms. The types of disease. You must have heard the names of various diseases like diabetes. Now what is diabetes? In simple language, I am telling you what is diabetes. So it is a disease in which too much of sugar level increases in our blood. Next is common cold. This is a viral infection. Okay. Next is the asthma. What is asthma? It is a disease in which person's airways become inflamed, narrow, swell and produce extra mucus, which makes the person difficult to breathe. It is a Down's syndrome. So it is a genetic disease in which causing development and intellectual delays. For example, the physical features changes in the person. Next is the heart disease relating to the reasons and symptoms of all these diseases are different. So reason for the diabetes is different, reason for the heart disease is different, and reason for the common cold is different. So there every disease, the reasons and symptoms are different. To bring coordination in scientific study of diseases are classified as the types of diseases. Okay, so students, according to the duration and according to the reasons, The diseases are classified as follows. So now let's see. These are classified into two types. That is, first is according to duration, next is according to the reason. Now according to the duration, two types are there. That means time period. So according to the time period, these all diseases are classified into two types. First is chronic disease and second is acute disease. So students, chronic disease means this is a long time diseases. For example, cancer, which takes more time to be treated. The next is acute disease. So these acute diseases happens sudden and very severe. For example, this is common flu, common cold, burn, etc. Now these acute diseases are short-term diseases and chronic diseases are long-term diseases. Now let's see the diseases according to the reason. So according to the reason, there are two types of diseases. First is hereditary disease. Okay, now these hereditary diseases are transformed from generation to generation. That means from parents to offspring, then their offspring. Okay, so this is the hereditary diseases. Now example of hereditary disease is Down syndrome. So just now I have explained you what is a Down syndrome. It is a syndrome causing development and intellectual delays. Now next disease is acquired disease. So these diseases are not transformed from generation to generation. That means these diseases we acquire, or the human being acquire at some particular time in the life period. Okay students, so in acquired diseases again we have two types. Infectious disease, that means the disease which can happen through the infection from person to person, like common cold, flu and dengue. And next is a non-infectious diseases like diabetes, heart disease. Okay, so these diseases are not infectious, that means not person to person these diseases are transformed. Now let's see the definition of infectious disease. So what is the infectious diseases? Diseases is spread through contaminated air, food or vector are called as a infectious disease. So these diseases are spread through the contaminated means impure or dirty. So dirty water, air, food or vector. What is vector? These are the insects and other animals. So these can be spread through insects or like mosquitoes, like this are called as a infectious disease. Now in your textbook one chart is given of some infectious disease. So let's see some infectious disease. First disease is tuberculosis. Pathogen. So the pathogen for tuberculosis is, now what is pathogen? It is a virus causing the disease. Now pathogen for the tuberculosis is Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Now mode of infection for this disease is spitting by patient through air, prolonged contact with and sharing of materials of patients. Now see, what is mode of infection for tuberculosis is this. Okay, so when one healthy person sharing the things like any things from the infected person, so that person also get infected with these diseases. Okay, so symptom is chronic cough, bloody spitting, emaciation, difficult breathing. Now chronic means long term coughing. Okay, and bloody spitting, emaciation. What is emaciation? Means becoming very or excessively thin. And prevention and treatment for the tuberculosis is BCG vaccine, isolation of patient, that means that patient is isolated from the healthy person. Regular medication like DOT means direct observation treatment. Now next infectious disease is hepatitis or jaundice. So pathogen or virus for the hepatitis is hepatitis virus A, B, C, D and E. So mode of infection, contaminated water, that means dirty water. Sharing of needles, blood transfusion. Now sharing of needles, that means when a healthy person share the needles or anything related to needles with the infected person, through which also the person may get infected with this disease. Blood transfusion means transferring of blood from infected to, like this. Okay, now symptoms are anorexia, yellow urine, general weakness, nausea, vomiting or gray stool. Now what is anorexia? It is a loss of appetite, and nausea means feeling of sickness. Now prevention and treatment for the hepatitis is drinking boiled water. We must have drink a boiled water. Proper cleaning of hands. Okay, next disease is dysentery. Now pathogen or virus for dysentery is bacteria, virus, Shigella, bacilli, entamoeba histolytica. Mode of infection, contaminated food and water. Watery stool, pains in abdomen. Drinking of boiled water, proper storage of food, ORS consumption. Now what is ORS? That means oral rehydration solution, or it is made up of salt and ions. And next is cholera, Vibrio cholerae bacterium. That means this is a pathogen for this disease. Mode of infection, contaminated food and water. And then symptoms of this disease are vomiting, severe diarrhea, cramps in the legs. Then prevention and treatment, following hygiene practices, avoiding open place, food, drinking boiled water, vaccination against cholera. Typhoid pathogen is Salmonella typhi bacteria. Again, the mode of infection is contaminated food and water. Anorexia means loss of appetite, headache, rashes on abdomen, dysentery, fever up to 104 degree Fahrenheit. Then prevention and treatment is drinking clean water, vaccination, proper disposal of sewage. Now see students, have you observed that mode of infection of these three diseases is same, that is through contaminated water and food. Next is infection through the sputum. Okay, so students, here you can see one picture, that is infection through the sputum. Okay, so students, when we talk or cough in the area, okay, so in that area small droplets are vaporized from our mouth, okay, vaporized into the fine mist. It means fine mist, you can see in the picture. So mist remains, so see, the mist remains in the air for several minutes to few hours. So when the healthy person will come in contact with that mist, okay, or we will come in contact with that area, so it also get infected. And see, large droplets settle on the ground within few seconds. Large droplets can settle on the ground and the minute mist remains in the air. Okay, so when the healthy person will come in contact with that mist or large droplet, it will get it infected. Okay, so this is how the infection arises through the sputum of an infected person.